everybody, it's Allie, and today I am sharing with you the project that I put together using our Dogs and Cats Story Play mini kit this year. We've been sharing projects on our blog this week and on Instagram, sharing some community contributor projects, and then I am sharing mine today. So what I decided to do with this kit was make essentially like a little booklet that will go into, I'm either going to put it in my 2025 10 by 8 album, or I will start a new 6 by 8 album just for pets, which is something that I'm kind of thinking about, maybe, having one 6 by 8 that's designated as a pet storytelling place. And actually this would be a great jumping off point for that kind of an album, because each one of these is essentially kind of telling the story of like where this particular pet came from and what we love about them. So we have 3 pets here. We have a dog and 2 cats. In the mini kit, it comes with a couple pieces of vellum. One has dogs, one has cats. So I'm going to cut those 2 in half, and I am going to stitch them together, run them through my sewing machine. So I have a dogs on the top and cats on the bottom, or vice versa. In the kit, there is also this pre-designed page that is inviting you to document 5 things that you love about your cat or your dog. And so what I did, in addition to having the one printed page, or the page that came in the physical kit, I also used the digital kit to print out 2 more of that same page, so that I would have 3 of the same page, one for each of my animals. And you can see here how I'm kind of starting to put my little booklet together. I've got the vellum will be at the front and the back of this little booklet. At this point in the process, I wasn't sure if I was going to have something else in there. But what I did end up doing is, once I had the vellum, I wanted something behind it, like before it goes into the individual animals. So I went ahead and I printed up a couple different grids of photos here. This is it's a little bit smaller than the 6 by 8 outside the page protector size. It's a little bit narrower. Basically what I did in Photoshop is I started with a 7-inch by 8.25 canvas, and I started with all 2x2s, and then I just enlarged them to fit the full size of the background canvas there. It's going to give me a little bit of space along the edge to add on a pattern paper, as you'll see in a little bit. I'm choosing to add some of the chipboard circles to the outside and inside of my vellum paper there, and then I'm also going to add chipboard pieces onto the prompt pages. So I'm going to put the 5 things I love about my dog, and then I'll put the 5 things I love about my cat on one of them, and the other one I'm going to put I think the Cats Forever is the one that I'm going to add onto the top of this one with Ernie. So they each got one of those chipboards. I could have stamped on there too. That was something that I considered. Another thing that I'm trying with this one, I've been seeing my friend Azari has been sharing some photo sticker paper that she's been using. This is a brand called Koala. This is what she recommended. I wanted to test it out. So these 3 smaller photos that are 3.5 by 2, I think they're a little bit smaller than that. They're like 3.25 by 1.75. That's what I cropped them to. And I printed them on my Epson PictureMate PM400 using this printable sticker paper. It turned out great. I'm not sure yet. I don't know about the longevity of it. That's something that people always ask me, like, do you know how long this is going to last? So many of the photos that I have printed over the years, printing here at home, look just fine, even from 20 years ago. So I'm not super worried about that, but I appreciated being able to just have the perfect right size and then have it have adhesive on the back. So that was was fun to kind of play around with that sticker paper. So if you're looking for something that you can print on that's like a glossy photo paper, it's not as thick as the regular Epson photo paper that I use, but I thought it looked pretty good. All right, now along the outside edge, I wanted to add either a pattern paper or a trim, some ribbon, something like that. I grabbed a checkerboard, blue and white. This is from one of our recent storyteller kits. And I just had kind of a random, scrap of paper left over from another project. And so I went ahead and cut them into the strip size there so that it's got this nice little grid on its own. And I'm going to run that through the sewing machine. So I used that blue tape to temporarily adhere it. And then I ran it through the sewing machine with that same zigzag stitch and the light blue thread that I used originally. I'm going to have some of that to cut off along the outside edge, which I knew was going to be the case. And I just decided that I would trim it off off in the end. So these are all going to get adhered back to back. Again, it's just like a little booklet style. So whenever I do this kind of thing, which is what I've been doing a lot of in my recent memory keeping, is then I use a metal ruler and an X-Acto knife to trim off along the edges where the pages don't line up perfectly. So that tends to work just fine for me. And then I've got all these nice little pages that just kind of lay right on top of each other. All right, so then the next step in the process was just going through and adhering all of these back to back. So a couple of them are photos back to back. The other one is the prompt paper back to back. Went ahead and did all those. And then I also fixed up my grid of photos for the back page of this little booklet. Same thing, running it through the sewing machine with the pattern paper, adhering those pages back to back, and then trimming off the excess along the edge. I'm not going to be doing my journaling on camera today. I wanted to go sit somewhere else to do it. In the case of this project, I am writing my storytelling or doing my storytelling by hand, and you'll see that more in a little bit. You can obviously print out, especially if you're using the digital version, it's really easy to add your text right on top. Next up, I decided that I wanted to have some tabs on these. So one tab for each of the pets. I'm using Avery Index tabs that are going to go along the top. In this case, I could have also done them along the outside edge, but I wasn't sure yet if they were going to go into my 10x8 album or into a 6x8 album. And if I was going to go in a 6x8 album, I would rather have the tabs along the top of the page there. So got all of those organized. Basically, I did one on the right side, one in the middle, and then one along the outside edge. So they're just lined up with the outside edge and then lined up in the middle. I am going to use some alpha stamps to stamp each of the pets' names before I slip a piece of paper inside those tabs. And then on the back side, I will be using a stamp from the Pieces of, I think it's from Pieces of Joy is the one I'm using. This little alpha stamp, this is one I got from Illustrated Faith a few years ago. It's a nice one because it's really pretty small in terms of the alpha stamps. So I'm stamping again each one of the pets' names on one end of these that get folded over in half and slipped into the Avery Index tabs. And then here's that Pieces of Joy stamp going on there, which says bring on the joy. And so that will be on the back side of each of these. So I like how that becomes a piece of each of these stories along the tops. I didn't put any other additional embellishments on top of my photos for this one, just kind of left those as they were. Again, I like how, I got a ton of writing done. Did my writing, did my underlining, and here you can kind of see a little bit of the flip through. And then I was thinking about, did I want to add another embellishment? So what I decided to play with was stamping on vellum. So using the little 3x4 stamp sets. We've got the Cats Forever and the Dogs Forever on those. So I played around with some Ranger archival ink in a green. This is olive and teal color there. I'm using a 1.75 inch circle punch to punch those out of the vellum. This is a white Swiss dot vellum that I've had for a while. It used to be available on scrapbook.com, but I'm not sure if they have that anymore. So you could print on plain vellum as well. One of the things that I do need to do in this case is I would like to use my tiny attacher to staple these circles on top of my grid. So I'm pulling back up the pages a little bit, the ones that I had already adhered down. It's pretty easy to just pull it up and then it sticks right back down again. So I'm going to do that for all 4 of these little vellum circles. So that was what I decided in terms of having an embellishment on there. And I think it's nice because it also goes with the chipboard circle on the other side there. I thought about adding the word phrase stickers, and then I decided to just go with this instead. I think that those can be used obviously in other stories that I tell about my pets in the upcoming months and years, of course. All right, so stapling that again, tiny tacher on there, and then let's do a little flip through. So I've got the vellum with the chipboard. I'm using my We Are Memory Keepers hole punch to punch the holes in place. Punch, punch, punch. This will be able to make it so that they can go into the 6-ring album. And then here's the little flip through at the end. So that nice pattern paper along the outside edge, great for bringing in a little bit of color. Here's the stories for each of my pets, and then the end. All right, let me know if you guys have questions in the comments below.